All right, we are at the beginning of Glamour, a world problem, and we're moving into the second part of I want to call it the introduction, but it's really called preliminary clarifications. So we're in the second part of this, and it's called the mode of awakening the intuition. There are many ways in which the intuition can be drawn into activity, and one of the most useful and potent is the study and interpretation of symbols. Symbols are the outer and visible forms of the inner spiritual realities. And when facility in discovering the reality behind any specific form has been gained, that very fact will indicate the awakening of the intuition. First ray people belong to what is called the destroyer ray. And the power of the first aspect, which is the power to bring to an end, flows through them. They will have a tendency to destroy as they build through a wrong direction of energy, through overemphasis of energy in some particular direction, or through misuse of energy in work with themselves or others. Many first-rate people have the tendency to pride themselves on this and hide behind a plea that, being upon the first ray, a destructive tendency is unavoidable. Such is not the case. Builders, such as second-rate people always are, builders, have to learn to destroy when prompted by group love and acting under the will or first ray aspect. Destroyers have to learn to build, acting ever under the impulse of group love and utilizing the power of attachment in a detached manner. Both groups, builders and destroyers, must ever work from the standpoint of reality, from the inner nucleus of truth, and must take their stand at the center. Now, in that, just so we keep these things in mind, we're considering the three rays of aspect there: the will, the love, wisdom, and intelligent and creativity, or intelligent. What is it called? Intelligent activity. Sorry. Those three aspects are the three aspects on the monadic plane. So that's the monad. That's our Father in heaven. That's the triplicity. Is the will, wisdom, love, wisdom, and creative and intelligent activity, or intelligence, or creativity, or however you intelligent activity. So we must, put that in our mind, and that triangle there, that's that symbol, will, activity, wisdom. We can use that as a symbol, essentially, too. And that chart for the Constitution of Man chart, that is an incredible, has incredible meaning to it. So let's dig into this. This is going to be great for us. I'm very much looking forward to going through this study of meaning behind the symbols again. The study of symbols tends to bring this about when carried out with faithfulness and diligence, and will produce three effects. One, it trains in the power to penetrate behind the form and to arrive at the subjective reality. which is, that is these are huge steps in the right direction here. 2, it tends to bring about a close integration between soul, mind, brain. And when that is brought about, the inflow of the intuition and consequently of illumination and truth becomes more rapidly possible. 3, it will put a strain upon certain unawakened areas in the brain and arouse into activity the brain cells there found. And this is the first stage in the experience of the aspirant. With the majority of true aspirants, the center between the eyebrows is awakened, whilst the center at the top of the head is vibrating very gently, but is not in full functioning activity. This higher center must be awakened more fully before aspirants can measure up to their full opportunity. And this is how we do it. We have to think and contemplate and meditate and go deep and arouse this and go into the unknown. And in that, we're awakening more fully these centers. In the study of symbols, I would urge upon you the necessity always to put before yourselves the goal of arriving at the underlying concept of any symbol studied. Put before yourselves the goal of arriving at the, we'll make that a goal. This concept will ever be synthetic. It will not be detailed and in sections. You may have to arrive at this concept through a study of detail and through arriving at the significance of various sections or parts of the symbol under consideration. When, however, your analysis is completed, you must not rest satisfied until you have summed up the meaning of the symbol in some synthetic idea, concept, meaning, or name. Symbols have to be studied in 3 ways. Exoterically, this involves study of its form as a whole, of its lines, and therefore of its numerical significance, and also study of its sectional forms, by which I mean its arrangements, for instance, of cubes, triangles, and of stars and their mutual interrelation. The second way we have to study symbols is conceptually. This involves arriving at its underlying idea, which may be expressed in its name, at its meaning as that emerges in the consciousness through meditation, and at its significance as a whole or in part. You should, when doing this, bear in mind that the idea connotes the higher or abstract intent. That the meaning is that intent expressed in terms of the concrete mind, and that its significance has in it more of an emotional quality and might be expressed as the type of desire it arouses in you. All right, let's look at this again. This is very important. We're looking at its significance as a whole or in part. You should, when doing this, bear in mind that the idea connotes the higher or abstract intent. That the meaning is that intent expressed, it's expressed in terms of the concrete mind, which is the lower, I want to say lower 4 subplanes of the mental plane. the abstract mind, the abstract higher or abstract intent would be the three higher planes of the mental plane. So by doing this, we're on the mental plane, and this is very important to be off of the astral and to be dealing on this. Now, this is interesting here because, and that is significant, that its significance has in it more of an emotional quality and might be expressed as the type of desire it arouses in you. Now, it's also said that we're kama monastic, so the astral plane does come over into the concrete mind on the lower 4 levels. So there is some emotion in that, yeah. It's kind of precipitated in there, you could say, I guess. Like it's you know, merged in there. It's overlapping it. So we can look to see what emotional quality might be expressed as type of desire it arouses in you. All right, and then, all right, the other way we have to study symbols. So we study symbols exoterically, which we're looking at the physical object, you know, the physical form itself. We're looking at the numbers of the lines. We're looking at the arrangements and the actual design and how they're interrelated. And then we're looking at it conceptually and coming to this deeper meaning that emerges in our consciousness through meditation, and you know, looking at it in its name, and the significance as a whole, or in part, but on abstract and how it's making its way down to the concrete and expressed in the concrete mind, and the emotions that it's stirring. So whether that be, you know, as we're moving further down the mental plane, the lower levels of the mental plane into the astral, and seeing what type of desire this is bringing out in us. Because emotions are there on the mental plane, but the desired nature should be more down in the astral. That is the desired nature, right? So we're looking from the top down, if that should make sense essentially there. And now we need to look at it esoterically. We're looking at it from down up in a way as well. So we're inducing and deducing. Esoterically, this would cover the effect of the force. Esoterically, this would cover the effect of the force or energy upon you, and of the quality of the vibration it may arouse in you, perhaps in some center, perhaps in your astral body, or perhaps only in your mind. So now we are looking at the effect of the force or energy upon you. That's what this esoterically means. And this is the study of energies, forces and energies. And now we're looking to see what this symbol, what the effect of the energy or force it has on us, and of the quality of the vibration it may arouse in perhaps some center. This, and I'm just thinking, this is really huge stuff for us. What if we can grasp this, and we should all be reading these things and really contemplating on them. But if we can make this our experience, this is going to help us, get higher and stay higher on the mental plane. And then eventually this will aid in, deeper connection. Let's say that. The study rightly undertaken would lead to the unfoldment of the intuition. Okay, there you go. This is one of the great parts of this. With its consequent manifestation on the physical plane as illumination, understanding, and love. In the first instance, the objective of the study of symbolism is to enable the student to sense its quality and to contact that vibrant something which lies behind that aggregate of line, color, and form of which the symbol is composed. So, to me, it says, we're looking into the symbol. We're looking at, we're looking at the depths of the origination of it, and all that was behind it. We're looking past what which lies behind it in its lines and its color and forms in which the symbol is composed. To some types of people, this study is relatively easy. To the majority, it is not easy at all, thereby indicating a lack that must be supplied by the use of those faculties at the present, which are at the present dormant. It is always distasteful to arouse the latent faculties and requires an effort and a determination not to be swayed by personality reactions. To many, it is not easily apparent how the penetration into the meaning of a symbol can provide a means whereby the dormant Buddhic or intuitional faculty can be brought into functioning activity. See, this is what we don't know. We need to know what we don't know so we can know. And how long would it have taken? This is not, without this information, without this depth and these techniques, to speed up the processes of awakening dormant selves and illumination. How much this is unbelievable. It is a delicate art, this art of symbol reading, of spiritual reading, as our ancient master Patanjali calls it. This power to interpret symbols ever precedes true revelation. The comprehension of a truth for which a line or a series of lines composing a symbolic form may stand is not all that has to be done. A good memory may remind you that a series of lines forming a triangle or a series of triangles signifies the Trinity, or any series of triplicates within the macrocosmic or microcosmic manifestation. But that activity and accuracy of the memory will do naught to awaken the dormant brain cells or call into play the intuition. These dormant brain cells, sound like they're, directly aligned with intuition. And as we talked, I want to say yesterday, we talked about the cells around the pineal gland, and they will begin to be illuminated and stimulated, and this is beginning to make, we're really drawing a picture, even in this the first couple pages of this book. If we're to go back and read this again, which I think that's a good idea, we would already have a very detailed picture of what's happening here, on how to dissipate, the glamours of this. And so how we're going to get into this, but the study of symbols, it's like this is preparatory work somehow for what we're about to dig into, because we're going to need this as we get into this study of the glamours that we're dealing with. And it's like we're being handed the tool right now, and this diagram of what's actually happening, and how this light is going to cancel out some darkness. This is how I'm seeing it. I definitely would say read it. We need to read this from the beginning again, because that first section really, yesterday's video combined with today's is creating a bigger picture for us. The power to interpret symbols ever precedes true revelation. All right, it's comprehensive. But that activity and accuracy of the memory will do not to awaken the dormant brain cells or call into play the intuition. It must be remembered, and here becomes evident the value of a certain amount of technical or academic occultism, that the plane we're on, the intuition manifests, and where the intuitional state of consciousness is active is that of the Buddhic or intuitional plane. This plane is the higher correspondence of the astral or emotional plane, the plane of sensitive awareness through a felt identification with the object of attention or attraction. All right, let's see. So we know the intuitional plane is the Buddhic plane. Right. This plane is the higher correspondence of the astral. We know that as the, we're talking about the 4 and 6, the 2, 4, 6 line, the 4 and the 6 here is what we're discussing. The 4th plane and the 6th plane from the bottom up. 6 being the astral, 4th being the Buddhic, 2nd being love, wisdom, and that would be the 2, 4, 6 line. And then we have the 1, 3, 5, 7 line as well, the odd lines. But this plane is the higher correspondence of the astral or motion plane, the plane of sensitive awareness through a felt identification with the object of attention or attraction. It becomes evident, therefore, that if the intuitional faculty is to be brought into activity through the study of symbols, the student must feel or be in some way identified with the qualitative nature of the symbol, with the nature of that reality which the symbolic form veils. It is this aspect of symbolic reading that you are asked to study. Students should ascertain, therefore, after due study of the form aspect, what the symbol is doing to them, what feeling it evokes, what aspirations it arouses, and what dreams, illusions, and reactions are consciously registered. So we're asking to become much more, to be very sensitive during this time. This stage is an intermediate one between the exoteric reading of a symbol and the conceptual understanding. There is later another intermediate stage between conceptual understanding and esoteric comprehension and application. Now we're going, this is going even deeper. Say. This latter stage is called synthetic recognition. Having studied the form and become aware of its emotional significance, you pass to the stage of grasping the basic idea of the symbol, and from thence to a synthetic comprehension of its purpose. This leads to true esotericism, which is the practical application of its living synthetic power to the springs of individual life and action. I would ask you to render not only an intelligent interpretation of the symbol, but also a recognition of the more subtle reaction of your sensitive feeling nature to the symbol as a whole. Study a total of 4 symbols a year. Okay, now we're being given guidance here. And if we were to take this seriously, and we are to take this seriously, this would benefit us greatly if we print out, a couple of the symbols that we're discussing here, and really listen to what is about to be told to us, I would say. Study a total of 4 symbols a year. First, approach the symbol from its form aspect and seek to familiarize yourself with its outer aspect, with the sum total of lines. Remember, we're always looking at points and numbers. We're always looking at numbers, essentially. There's different, whether they're positive or negative, how many, what the number of the total number of them, and where these things lead. With the sum total of lines, triangles, squares, circles, crosses, and other forms of which it is composed. And as you do this, endeavor to comprehend it from the standpoint of the intellect, using your memory and what knowledge you have to understand it exoterically. Then as soon as the symbol is truly familiar to you and can be recalled to mind with little effort, endeavor to sense its quality, to contact its vibration, and to note its emotional effect on you. This may vary from day to day, or it may always be the same. Be simply honest in your noting this astral reaction to the symbol and see where such reactions lead you, remembering always that they are not intuitional, but are reactions to the feeling or astral body. Finally, take note of what you have found to be for you the basic quality of the symbol, and then, as in meditation work, lift the whole subject into the mental realm by bringing the focused, attentive mind to bear upon it. This will lead you into the realm of concepts. We have consequently the following stages in the analysis of a symbol. 1, its exoteric consideration, line, form, and color. 2, a comprehension in the astral or emotional body of its quality, the reaction of a sensitive response to the impact of its qualitative nature. 3, a conceptual consideration of its underlying idea of what it is intended to teach of the intellectual meaning, and it is in meaning, the meaning it is intended to convey, the intellectual meaning it is intended to convey. 4, the stage of the synthetic grasp of the purpose of the symbol, of its place in an ordered manifesting plan, of its true unified intent. So 4 is the stage of the synthetic grasp of the purpose of a symbol and its place in an ordered manifesting plan of its true unified intent. And 5 is identification with the quality and purpose of the symbol as it is illuminated by the mind, held steady in the light. Finally, this stage brings into activity the brain as well as the mind. The study of symbols viewed as a whole involves 3 stages. First, the investigation of a symbol and the consequent progress of the analyst from one progressive stage of awareness to another, to a gradual inclusion of the entire field covered by the symbol. So this is a gradual thing. This isn't all to be done in one instant. Secondly, an intuitive perception of the symbols to be seen everywhere in the divine manifestation. And the third stage is the use of symbols on the physical plane and their right adaptation to a seen and recognized purpose, leading to the subsequent magnetization of the symbol with the needed quality through which the idea can make its presence felt, in order that the intuited qualified idea may find proper form on the physical plane. All right, I want to read these 3 stages again, and even if it's not, this is for myself as well here. So the study of symbols viewed as a whole involves 3 stages. The investigation of a symbol and the consequent progress of the analyst from one progressive stage of awareness to another, the stages we talked about, to a gradual inclusion of the entire field covered by the symbol. Secondly, is an intuitive perception of the symbols to be seen everywhere in the divine manifestation. All right. Third, the use of symbols on the physical plane and their right adaptation to a seen and recognized purpose, leading to the subsequent magnetization of the symbol with the needed quality through which the idea can make its presence felt, in order that the intuited qualified idea may find proper form on the physical plane. All right. Deal, therefore, with the symbols in a wide generalization, exoteric, conceptual, and esoteric, right? We talked about that. But add to that an analysis of your sensitivity and response to the quality of the symbol. Let me recapitulate for a moment. First of all, it is valuable to remember that the study of the symbol exoterically involves the use of the brain and memory. You endeavor to study line and form, number and general external aspects, knowing that each line has significance, all numbers have their interpretation, and all forms are symbols of an inner quality and life. The study of symbols conceptually carries you inward from the brain to the mind, into the realm of ideas. It sweeps into focused activity the mental apparatus. You then become aware of the concept or idea which the sign or symbol embodies. You comprehend its meaning and for what it stands. You grasp the purpose for which the form has been brought into manifestation. Your study of number and of line has given you a rich background of knowledge upon the objective plane, a richest, in this case, dependent upon your own personal reading, mental equipment, and knowledge. Your capacity to read a meaning into a symbol will be dependent also upon the richness of the meaning you ascribe to the events of your daily life and your ability to really meditate. So we need to be consciously aware throughout the day, essentially here, I'm reading, and see the richness of the meaning of the events of our daily life every day, knowing that everything has meaning. And then we start seeing the symbols in eventually we'll start seeing the symbols of these things in our daily life, these events, and how our life is unfolding. And we can see the depth and the significance and where these things are leading us. And this study of symbols is leading us also to this depth of understanding our life, or our ability to interpret our life in terms of meaning. I would like to make clear to you that there is no set interpretation of any symbol, and that for each human being, that symbol, whatever it may be, will convey unique meaning. A lack of interest in symbols presupposes usually a lack of interest in the due interpretation of life forms and their meaning. All right, so there's meaning in the meaning that I ascribe to the meaning. Knowing that, even in each of our words, we say there's meaning. And a more evolved person, the more evolved we are, the more evolved we become, the more aware of the depth of all of these things, to the point where when you're talking to another person, the words that they're speaking, you can see the true meaning and intent behind it, and really not even be hearing that. You hear what they mean, not what they say about that. So the symbols of the words, we hear the meaning behind it, and you can almost disregard the actual words that were said, because even if the person meant it one way, you can see the meaning, and whether they can see it or not is actually irrelevant, because that's where it came from. And so then there's also this need for the individual who can see that, to learn how to handle that situation. So this whole time we're growing and learning all at once. And I'm not necessarily speaking I've been told these things. I've contemplated these things myself. I'm not saying that this is my daily life like that or anything. That's not what I mean. This is a process, and it's a never-ending process. So we make this, these things do become our experience as we're studying them. And you can see that there's truth in this. There's deep, very deep, esoteric truth. It's so amazing. I say that all the time. I apologize for saying it. I can't get over it sometimes. The depth of this is just incredible. I would like to make clear, there's no okay, we already went through this. So that's 2 turn left on me. Also, too much academic interest in symbols may presuppose a tortuous and intricate mind which loves design and line and form and numerical relationships, but which misses entirely the significance of meaning. The balancing in the mind of form and concept, of expression and quality, of sign and meaning is vital to the growth of the disciple and the aspirant. So now we see this triple balance again. This need for triple balance and just triple mastery, essentially. This equilibrized use of, first the body, the physical body, the emotional and the mental, and now we're really getting into the more of the emotional, mental Buddha. So we're this three are sliding up. It's the polarity is moving, the spectrum is moving all together. There's always that triplicity there working. The great need for most students is to arrive at meaning and to work with ideas and concepts. This activity will necessitate the use of the mind to understand, to grasp, and to interpret. It requires the development of that mental sensitivity, which will enable its possessor to respond to the vibrations of what we call the universal mind, the mind of God, the instigator of the plan. It presupposes a certain ability to interpret and the power to express the idea underlying the symbol so that others may share it with you. This thought of service and of growth and usefulness must be steadily borne in mind. I mean, we're looking at the meaning and everything, and including the meaning of humanity and the events taking place in humanity, and seeing the bigger picture, and in that we can develop that mental sensitivity, and will enable its possessor to respond to the vibrations of what we call the universal mind, the mind of God, the instigator of the plan. And now we begin to sense this plan, and we can begin to express and work and express it. Can you not see how this power to study, to interpret, and to penetrate to meaning will further your growth spiritually? And I think it's very obvious. I hope it's obvious for everyone as it is for me. Can you believe that through the use of this method, you may learn to work more intelligently with the plan and become a better helper of your fellow men? Yeah, absolutely. It's because this is tying it all together. We're sewing the pieces together. The puzzle's coming together, and it's alive. What is there in this objective world that is not the inadequate symbol of a divine idea? I would say nothing. It's all a symbol of a divine idea. What have we in our outer manifestation but the visible sign of the plan of the creating deity? What have we in our outer manifestation but the visible sign at some stage of the evolving purpose of the plan of the creating deity? What are you yourself but the outer expression of a divine idea? We must learn to see symbols all around us and then to penetrate behind the symbol to the idea which it should express. There is, however, a technique of study which may be of service to you as you attempt to arrive at an idea and thus study conceptually the many symbols by which we are surrounded. It is largely the technique for which meditation should have prepared you. The difference between this technique and meditation work is mainly one of polarization and goal. In the study of symbols, conceptually, the consciousness is polarized in the mental body, and no attempt is definitely made to contact or involve the soul or ego. Herein lies the distinction between the second stage of symbol interpretation and ordinary meditation. You have exhausted the method of familiarizing yourself with the form aspect of the symbol, and you know well its outer contour and externalization. You know, too, that a peculiar series of lines, such as, for instance, the 3 lines forming a triangle, represent such and such an idea or truth or teaching. This is recorded in your brain, drawing on the resources of your memory. The registering of old information and knowledge about the figures in a symbol serves to pull your consciousness up onto the mental plane and to focus it there in the world of ideas or of concepts. The concepts exist already upon the concrete levels of the mental plane. They are your mental and racial heritage and are ancient mental forms which you can now employ in order to arrive at meaning and significance. It is an ancient statement of fact, which Plutarch expresses for us in the familiar words that an idea is a being incorporeal, which has no substance of itself, but gives figure and form unto shapeless matter and becomes the cause of the manifestation. Okay, it's like an archetype there. I'm seeing like we just brought together an archetype of form without the added life. So the figure and form you have registered with your brain and memorized, and likewise its activity in time and space, along with its innate capacity to build the form and express through that form a concept or idea. As you work inwards, you are also becoming aware of the nature of the motivating idea through the study of its form and its demonstrated activity, and you are discovering the field of ideas of analogous nature in which the idea embodied in the symbol, finds itself. We're really chunking together reality at this point. It's really getting chunked, compartmentalized. This field of from my standpoint, and I may be, don't listen to me. This is me pondering, right? So we should all be pondering, and I can be wrong about everything. I'll just put that out there. This field of ideas, interrelated and mutually explanatory, is now open to you, and you will increasingly find yourself in a position to move in this world of concepts with freedom. To work and live in the world of ideas now becomes your objective and main effort. You train yourself in the recognition of ideas and concepts as they lie behind every form. You begin to think clearly about them and to see the direction in which they lead you and where within the eternal plan they fit. This is so incredibly deep, okay? I'm hesitant to go much further because of what we just went through here. You know, it's hard to, you know, this is a live study of stuff. This is hard to, you know, just keep going and just keep studying all the time. And that doesn't necessarily benefit us all that much when we push it too hard. We'll look past certain things, but I'm going to, let's just see if there's a good spot to stop here. If aspirants will do three things: A, develop the power to visualize; B, train the mind to intuit reality; and C, rightly interpret that which is seen. They can provide a demonstrating laboratory for the trained observers of the world. Now we're about to tie this together, and we're gonna leave it right around this spot here. One of the things which the developed intuition can do is to break the glamour and illusion which evade the life. One of the things that a group of aspirants whose intuitional interplay is established can accomplish is to aid in the work of smashing world glamour. Such work can be done when you have awakened the intuition and when your interrelated understanding is firm and true. The hierarchy will be able to use the world aspirants as an instrument for the breaking of group glamour wherever it may be found. I refer to this possibility in order to incite you all to a more rapid and steady growth and effort. You know, oftentimes we read and, you know, we're looking and waiting for this, you know, a synthesis, for some nugget of information to make sense, or we look and we see how these things are playing out in our life. But right now this is different. We're getting instruction, and this is hugely valuable instruction, and should be taken pretty seriously. So, you know, if you can, you know, look at these stages again, find a symbol. Look at it as it's lined out here. Follow what the master here is saying, and see where this goes. And then not just symbols, but we begin to look at our whole life like this. But yes, we should look at, you know, a good symbol that comes to mind right away is just literally on the blue books. That's a great symbol there. But we also have, you know, the circle, the Annie-Besant symbols that are in Studying Consciousness in the beginning of that. You know, the circle with the dot, a square, or a circle with a line, a vertical line through it, a circle with a horizontal line through it, a circle with the cross in it. and then we have a triangle, and then there's different aspects of that as well. Many things can come up from that, because we have the triplicity, and then work through this. So this is really great stuff. I want to leave it there so we can ponder on these things, evoke a response in terms of the capability to do this. Can we ask for the ability to bring this into consciousness and to work with this in the way that as it is stated, and make our demand that this become useful in our life? All right, let's spend some time on this. Take it slow. Okay, everybody have a great day. See you soon.